Our next presentation is Advances in Irrigation for Berry Crops, and we have 3 speakers from Delta Water Tech. Please welcome Irrigation Designer Susan Blackmore, Senior Irrigation Projects Manager Doug Jarvie, and Irrigation Projects Manager Weil.
Perfect. Thank you everybody for coming out. We'll be trying to build on Andy's talk, so there is going to be a little bit of overlap just because it is irrigation and soil moisture, but hopefully we'll be able to add on to that. As I said, my name is Susan, and I work as an irrigation designer, so I specialize in drip systems for all kinds of crops. So just before we start, we'll give you kind of a general outline of what we're going to do. So roughly we'll have 3 sections. The first is how we see farmers and how they use irrigation in their berry farms in BC. Then we'll go into kind of like what's out there for control. What are you looking to do? What's possible? You know, what do you need to make it happen? And then at the very end, we'll look at a case study and just see, you know, a farmer, what they've done and how it worked. We will hopefully have room for questions at the end, but I will ask if you have any hard questions, direct them to Doug. Okay, so typical berry irrigation today. And I just want to start out, these are generalizations. So this may be something that maybe you've irrigated this way in the past. Maybe you irrigate this way presently. Maybe you'll irrigate this way in the future when things are really, really busy during the summer. So, you know, how you irrigate often changes on your life and if things change in your life. So this is just a generalization. We recognize that there's like a lot of variability with how farmers grow. But when we go to farms, this is typically what we see farmers doing. So like run time, so between 8 to 12 hours. Sometimes people have to go out, you know, turn on a pump, start the irrigation, and then turn off the pump when it's done. And oftentimes, as soon as they are done, at the very, very end, then they restart it. So if they have 6 zones, then they're gonna run them for 2 days or 3 days, and then they're gonna restart again. Reacting to rain events. You know, if you're out somewhere and you're unable to shut off your irrigation system, it's gonna run. You know, and unless it's raining when you turn it on, it's probably gonna run. And oftentimes in our experience, the irrigation timers get set at the very beginning of the season, and then they get left that way the whole season. So really, you don't know how much water the plants really need, but then also, how do you check? Like, how much water did the plants actually get? So if most people are irrigating, you know, why would you look at changing something like this? So here are some things I'll briefly touch on. I know that Andy had talked about some of them, but due to the shallow root systems, a lot of berry crops are very, very susceptible to overwatering. So you're reducing the oxygen, you know, you're introducing a lot of areas for rot, for mildew, if it is too wet. And so this can range, like the effects on your plants, to killing the plant, to weakening the plant, and then also to impacting your crop yield. Another thing that Andy had mentioned was the nutrient leaching. So if you're moving those nutrients down below what the roots can access, then this is going to cost you more money or affect your crop yield. So if the nutrients are not being absorbed, unless you're putting on additional nutrients, then it's going to affect the health of your plant. And I will say, with crops like blueberries, like you don't get a fresh start every year. So every year builds on the year before. So it's not like you're farming potatoes, say, oh, we had a terrible year, we're gonna do things different next year. What you do this year will affect the coming years. Another thing that we see with, you know, no or limited automation is irrigation systems, and they're what we would call like unprotected. So this is also going to cost you money because it's very difficult to detect broken pipes, drip lines. Oftentimes, you know, a neighbor will call you and say, hey, something's wrong. And so you're not proactively shutting it down, you're reacting. And oftentimes, especially in remote locations, if you show up to a site, it could look like everything is running perfectly, but something could be plugged, like your filters may not be backflushing properly. Your emitters could be plugged with high iron content. So you show up, you're like, okay, I see that there's some water going, but there's no way to confirm it. And oftentimes, once you get to the wilt point, then that's when you see it. And then it's already too late because it will affect your crop. And the other big thing is knowing if your pumps have failed, if your pumps are running dry. These are very big things because not only do you have to pay to fix it, you lose all that time that could have been irrigated. So it's kind of like crossing your fingers, hoping for the best, but something will always break. You guys are farmers, you know that. Something will always break. So to summarize, without any kind of automation, like you're relying just on you, your memory, your estimation, your availability. And these are things that change during the season, and it changes, maybe you get sick, maybe somebody's helping you. So in our experience, to fully automate a system just with you is very, very difficult. To match it to the temperature, to match it to weather patterns, to actually guarantee the plants are getting the correct amount of water. And I would say overwatering is much more common than underwatering. So automation, I know it's like a buzzword. What is it? What does it do? People are aware of it, but what does it actually look like? And then how does it actually help you? That's what Tal's going to tell you.
Thank you. I move it with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, what control system can do for you, and I will go, there is a wide range, so I will go from the most simple to the most, I would say, complex. Now, once a farmer starts using the control system, usually they get bigger appetite to get more advanced features. So we always like to start small, start teaching and training the farmer how to do things on a small scale and get bigger. For many reasons. One of them is what Susan talked about, to protect your system. If you are not familiar, it might cause big damages. Second is your crop, of course, which is the most important thing, to make sure that we are maximizing the crop yields, the crop quality. So level one, we will call it the most simple one, is just open and close your valves, start and stop your pump, whether you have VFD or no, just to do those things and see how much it affects your operation by saving time, saving labor. Even some farmers will find they are more precise because the guys that used to open the valve before had lunch, so he did it 1 hour later. It was already cloudy, rain event. Plants didn't get the water when it was sunny, high radiation, and things are changing. So this will be the most simple area. And then level two is the moderate applications, where we're reading the water meter. We can read the fertilizer meter if you are fertigating, injecting fertilizer through your irrigation system. We will pull up, or the system will pull reports for you to know exactly what was the proportions, how much the plants got. Weather station, whether you do frost management or you don't do frost management, you get to know radiation, rain, wind, humidity, whatever you're looking for, and analyze back. So many times I find that even though it's simple features, that doesn't always help you to react immediately in the season time. Once you're done with your season, you find you had better yield, worse yield, wet spots in the field, more pathogens, more disease. You can look back and see what have changed in my weather conditions. Now, county weather stations are good, but we all know there is many counties with microclimates. We all know that in our field things look differently. So that will be the level 2 of monitoring and control some of our system. When we go to the most, I would say, complex range of the systems, we are talking about level control, whether it's in reservoir or water storage tank, proportional fertigation. So no matter what the pressure or the flow rate of your system, the plants will always see the same proportions, same concentration of fertilizers in the field. Now, some operations have the same flow rate and pressure. They have robust infrastructure. There is no need, but many of them doesn't. So This is important features that you can have. Again, it's working automatically, but farmers not always like to go ahead and put it all together from first year. So we build a plan for 3 years to start with open your pumps, go through weather station, ends up with proportional fertigation. That includes ECPH level, salinity, acidity, super important in berry growing. Raspberry, blueberries are very, very sensitive to that. So sometimes farmers think they have the right ECPH, and you have some buffer in your soil. But after 5, 6, 10, 15 years of growing, soil is diluted, and the water solution will be the main ECPH, I would say, impact on your plants. So that's another features. Frost management, as I said, with weather station and sprinkler system, we automatically open up the sprinklers at specific temperature to make sure that you don't lose any yields in the early spring with the frost. I know it can cause big damages, and sometimes when I'm coming to introduce frost management system to orchards or berry growers, and we get to talk about the price, which is the challenging stage, they will be like, oh no, this is a huge investment. But then you ask them how much you lost last year, and they lost 10 times the value of this system. So obviously it's up to your operation, whether it's small, big, and how much it's worth. But usually when someone losing a crop or yields for frost events, it's a major damage to the operation. So it's another feature that we use a lot with berry growers. We have very good trials with radiation some. So out in Ontario, many berry growers start to irrigate according to the radiation sum. I will not get into too many details because I can talk a few more hours about that. But just to let you know that not always the soil moisture or the amount of precipitation, it's the right way to measure the precise irrigation your plants need. There is new experiments, even commercial scale experiments, that showing that radiation is a big factor to when to open your irrigation and for how much time. So just putting it there for you guys to know it's another option we have. Alarms when pressure drop, we all know, or anyone that was a farmer knows that once you are not in the field, something happened. Usually it will happen Friday afternoon, evening time when you finish your week. And this is why we have control systems. You get text message, ring, whatever you like to get it, whatever notification you like, you find out there is a leakage, you can stop the pump, pressure go up, pressure go down. It's one way to, like Susan said, to protect your system, and another way, it's also giving you, I would say, it's your eyes in the field. So whether you have too much water in your field or not enough, you will always know about it, even when you are in the weekend, whenever you like to be in your weekend. One more thing about data analysis. So our control system can pull reports, as I said. It can be weekly reports, it can be daily reports, and it can be seasonal reports. It doesn't matter what you set up for. Those reports are super important, whether you have agronomist or you do your calculation yourself. This is, I would say, the learning curve or the tool to get faster learning curve when you talk about disease, yields, quality, any kind of factor you want to measure on your fields. Those reports are basically the only true, precise measurement to analyze what you did good and what you did not so good. Just to give a brief example for automation for fertilizer injectors that going through the irrigation system. So on the very left side, sorry, I have the opposite screen. So on the very left side, you will see the Venturi injection. Maybe some of you familiar. It's very common. It's just dropping the fertilized solution into the line. Not precise. If the pressure go up, all the fertilizers will go at once. If pressure go down, it stops injecting fertilizers. That can be a big problem. Some farmers used to tell me, I don't care if it's dumping all the fertilizers at once, and then I'm not fertilizing for a few weeks. I have a rough example, but I have small kids, so I can give the example that I cannot feed my son only once every 2 weeks with all his diet for the next 2 weeks. It will not work, or it will work, but not so good. And going back to the crop, you will not be probably able to sell it so good if you just dump your fertilizer. It will affect your yields and your quality. But again, for 1,000 acres of vegetables, they will use a Venturi. They tell me, hey, my pressure is constant, my fields are big, I'm delivering big amounts of water. It's not so important. For smaller growers or for more precise growers, it's very important. The one in the middle, it's hydraulic pump. This pump, you can connect and just let it work hydraulic on the water force. When you automate it, it becomes a proportional fertigation. I would say it's a mid-range between the fully automatic precise systems to the very manual ones. So it's a mid-range solution. We sold hundreds of units like that for berries, vineyards, vegetable growers all over Canada and some in the States. So it's getting more and more common. And on the right side, we will have the mixing benches, fertigation machines. Each company call it differently. This can automatically deliver constant and stable ECPH levels into your system. The way it's doing it, it's have those channels, if you can see the orange valves, needle valves. Each valve, it's connected to a channel that's pulling fertilizers from a different tote. So the farmer is setting up the ECPH levels and proportions. I want to get 10% of nitrogen, 5% potassium, 6% micronutrients, whatever your recipe is. And the machine knows how to monitor ECPH and inject accordingly the right proportion of fertilizers. Again, you will see it in any greenhouse. Soilless media, it's a mandatory. Open field, you see it less. But if someone wants to get the most precise way to fertigate his field, it's definitely this machine. Now, the pump on the machine can be a bypass pump that just boosting the pressure, or it can be the pump that will do your whole system. It depends more on the specific way you operate. But just wanted to give you this range of fertilizer, because in Delta we think that fertigation is a crucial point that affecting more than what many farmers think on their yields. So wanted to put it out there. This is actually Andy's slide, so thank you, Andy, for providing us. And again, Andy talked a lot about it. I can talk a lot about it as well, but here I just wanted to show you a few options how your dashboard is going to look when you get a control system. It can be a very simple, straightforward, measuring one soil moisture sensor in your field like you see here. But when you're getting weather station, when you're getting a water meter, fertigation, you can build your own dashboard. Of course, we will help you, but you can build your own dashboard with all the fertigation plans, all the irrigation plans you have for the week, for the season. You can get it through heat map, through satellites. The options are endless. So again, it's just a glimpse of what we can do. We can check different depths like Andy showed before us. We can check the ET compared to how much you irrigate. There is really many, like much data you can get out of those systems, and you can adjust it to whomever using it, whether it's your farm manager, your agronomist, or the owner of the farm. Each one wants to see different things, different factors. You will have them all, and you will adjust it and build it for the right person in your farm. Decision making. Many people asking about like decision making driven systems. Will it take decision for me? No. It can. We don't suggest it, we don't recommend it, and we don't offer it. I've been a farmer myself. I work with fully automatic systems in my farms, and I never let it decide for me how much to irrigate, how much fertilizer to put, or anything else. Yeah, my frost management system was turning on itself automatically when the temperature dropped, because it's happening 4 or 5 a.m. and I didn't want to trust myself. But when it's come to how much irrigation I need to put in the first few months on my corn, and on the next 3 or 4 months, it's my decision. I will set up in the computer that in March, change my irrigation plan. In May, put more phosphorus to the blooming, but I would never let it just run by itself without me touching anything. I know the trend now is AI, and the computers will do everything for us, but unfortunately, we still need agronomists, we still need growers, farm managers. We are not letting you go yet. So regarding all these questions, we can set up alarms. You will get to know anything in your field within the palm of your hand, but you will have to react. You will have to tell to the computer, I want to shut off the pump, I want to turn it on, off thresholds, but it will not be hands-free AI decision-making in the farm yet. Dashboard I spoke. Okay, so I want to show a small case study. Even though it's an apple orchards, it will be just the same for any berry operation. On the right side of the screen, you can see a standard typical irrigation design map that we are doing. Irrigation tables that showing you all the data, how much you irrigate and what are the zones. So 85 acres of apples, fully automated, open valves, closing valves, pumps, protection. Flow rate was 500 gallons per minute. The pressure was 80 psi. It has proportional fertigation, flushing the filters, soil moisture sensor, dendrometer, which is the tree trunk sensor that also helping a lot of orchard guys to decide how much they need to irrigate according to the tree trunk tubes. Pump with VFD and everything in the farm, weather station, frost management, everything was there. The farm still exists. It was 6 years ago and keep growing. So that's a great case study that we had that's still working. And again, the farm manager sit in front of his computer in January, February, together with me, deciding how much water he wants to put for each zone. It's different varieties as well, this orchard, so he putting different irrigation amounts, different fertilizing amount. First year, I think he reduced the amount of water in like 25, 27%. Fertilizers amount decreased by 25%, and surprisingly, the yields increased, even though inputs were less. So again, we didn't do any magic. We just let him work more precisely, and instead of running 20 guys in the field, opening valves and injectors, he had our system to run it all. So just by that, he saved a lot of money, and he's keep of progressing with his crop. That's another example. It was taking some of the photos was taken from this project. So you can see we built a different dashboard for him where he have different storage tanks. He can see the EC like conductivity, acidity, the pH levels, the water level inside the tank, when we need to fill it up. He want to know in some of the tank what is the oxidation level. It's all options that we can do. But again, he started 6 years ago with just open and close the valves and pumps, and every year add to it more and more features. It's scalable, and it's the best way to do it. On the bottom right side, you can see the tree trunk sensor I talked about, and in the upper right side, you can see just a standard remote terminal unit connected to soil moisture sensor, maybe to a valve, and by radio frequency, we operate it on and off. Still me, right? So, what is the best system for you? That's a very good question, and we are considering each farmer as a new farmer and have specific needs. So we will adjust, or we will build and design our system according to what you guys need. Well, you have sandy soil, you are growing raspberry or blueberry. We will take all this data from you. We will understand how many hours in the day you can work, how many hours in the day you are not in the field, how many people you have. All this kind of consideration we want to know so we can offer you the best way to automate and control your system. For large growers, it's important to notice that we do have subscription. It's in the range of $400, $500 a year, depend on the size of the system. But again, when we come to make calculations of ROI, of your business model, you will see it very clearly that within 1, maximum 2 years, these expenses become nothing compared to the added value that you get for precision, for labor savings, for input savings, and for yields increasing. So something we want to put there. And for commercial growers, of course, if you do 500, 1,000, 2,000 acres, we will have to customize the solution. It will be the same system, but on bigger scale. So we will have to customize any part of the system for your needs. And we have an example of pump control for multi-stage pumping system with 500-foot elevation. Like Susan said, this is Doug's part. Don't ask me about this pump's control. No, but really we can do anything with our control system. We did it for greenhouses, we did it for open field, and we did it for industrial system controlling huge pumps and reservoirs. So you guys will need to name it, and we would be happy to accommodate it and come up with the right solution. But we do have a long experience with many kind of systems. Thank you. And any questions? We were clear. Yeah.
Outside of the context of substrate production of berries, when would you use one of those mixing tables? Because I've never seen that in berry production.
You mean in soilless media, like in tunnels or greenhouses of berries?
So aside from the use of substrate, field-based berry production, does anybody use a mixing table or?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, some farmers find it even in open field, that it's more, I would say, convenient. I would say it's larger growers, not small growers. And the 3 best examples I have in Canada, they actually build their own recipe. I can't tell you if it's a very good recipe or just something they try to hide and, and looks fancier. But they needed this machine because they wanted to pull different fertilizers in different time of the season to make their own special recipe. Again, I know for most open field, your soil will have enough buffer and enough nutrient to deliver what you need. But yeah, there is some growers, especially on sandy soils, that want to bring more to the soil.
Right, so they're using A tank, B tank systems. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Thank you very much.